There are 12 new videos of the chaos. What you're seeing here are just 4 of them. 4 different cities, Wuhan, Shenzhen, Beijing and Shanghai, where this is what the situation is at the heart of each of those cities. It's chaos, it's not contained in small areas, it's widespread. China's propaganda will have you believe that these are small eruptions in certain areas, but there is a wave of an uprising that is taking place against the Chinese dispensation for its ridiculous and ineffective zero-COVID policy. Take a look at this report that rounds up what you may have missed. Each one of these videos is going viral despite the iron-handed clampdown that China has on its internet and social media. This is Chinese citizens rising up against a dictator.
Stunning pictures, these images that have emerged from China, just speaking volumes of how people are simply fed up of the government, of the administration. Protests have broken out in major cities of China, including Shanghai and Beijing, where the people, the ordinary Chinese man and the ordinary Chinese woman, are asking their president Xi Jinping to step down, to stop COVID-19 restrictions, to end the lockdowns and to have mercy on the people. Desperate and angry. This has been simmering. Make no mistake, lockdown measures, strict and unforgiving, have been in place in different areas for months now in China. And the tool the Chinese government is using to monitor every breath a citizen takes is a digital one. The country is ruled by a QR code. COVID-19 health codes have been a core element of China's hardline health strategy. These are pictures of drone surveillance in Inner Mongolia and Jiangsu province from February this year. This is from Wuhan in February this year, where millions are lining up to do their COVID test to get back their QR code green. So how does the QR code dictate your life in China? A code read in QR can disconnect you from your home, office and pack you off in a quarantine camp. If you try to enter a public place with a red code, an alarm goes off. A green QR code is mandatory for you to be able to access food, public transport, go to work, go back home. If your COVID health passport is switched to code yellow, you need to get a negative PCR test. If you stand close to a person whose COVID passport code is red for more than 10 minutes, the artificial intelligence of Chinese government will automatically switch your COVID passport to code red. The distance between you and that person can be as far as half a mile. And if your COVID health passport is switched to code yellow, you need to get a negative PCR test to get your green pass back. And that's why you witness the scene soften in China, where people escape a public place where just one person's QR code is red. It is clear that the Chinese government is using health codes to not just monitor health of its users, but also collect sensitive health data. Perhaps even ensure a more brutal clampdown on people who are out on the streets protesting, given that the government can turn the code red and cut off the voices of dissent as it wishes. In New Delhi, Sneha Mordani for India Today.
Sneha Mordani, who's been putting together all of these reports for us, capturing the true essence of how bad things are down there. And Sneha happens to be our health editor as well, so she knows a thing or two about how countries have been, handling their COVID crisis. But China is truly a shocking example of things going completely out of control. Isn't that true, Sneha?
Well, absolutely, yes, Shivan, and they seem to be relying a lot on studies, including the one that was published on the 11th of May in the Nature Medicine that spoke about some startling facts and possible scenarios for China, for example. If the zero COVID policy is lifted, there could be 1.5 million deaths, 15-fold ICU capacity and 77% deaths in the unvaccinated population. Remember, above the age of 80, only 50% of people in China are vaccinated. Also, there is a huge disparity in the urban and rural healthcare systems, and that's the reason why the Chinese government is afraid of lifting these restrictions. But what are they resulting in essentially? We all know, experts worldwide have said it is going to be impossible to eliminate COVID-19. So when these lockdowns were in place in the last few days or so, it just became more stringent shift. What really happened? China reported more than 40,000 cases. So I think it's clear that the infection is not going to die down anytime soon, even if you lock people inside their homes. Also, I want to tell you that Omicron has been the only variant of concern in the last 1 year, unlike the other variants, which means that it is the virus is alive, it's kicking, it's a strong variant, and it has 500 sub-lineages, which is not the case with the other variants like Delta that died its own natural death shift. So Omicron essentially is here to stay, and this clearly is a policy that's not going to work. It's not working for the country, it's not working for the economy, and clearly, as you see, there is a lot of distress out there on the streets also, and this is just the tip of the iceberg. Like you rightly said at the outset, a lot of these things, including suicides in China, Shiv, is not being reported, obviously, by the mainstream media for reasons we all know, but it doesn't mean that there is no mental distress.